This is Damien from the Aquaponic Machine, and I want to talk about or continue the conversation that I've been having online about the commercial viability of aquaponics. So what we want to do today is kind of compare aquaponics to commercial farming, the traditional model, to kind of highlight how aquaponics is commercially viable, because I get to realize it's not an easy task to make money from aquaponics. A lot of people would like to, but it is not easy. So far, this is what I have been working on. So on this side, you can see these is the fish tanks, and on this side, these are the wicking beds. All these here, wicking beds. All these is fish tanks, and except for the last two, this is the filtration. Two of these is filtration. This filtration. This, and this. So these tanks is the filtration aspect that is take the nutrients from the fish and deliver them, process them and deliver them to the plants. So that is how my system does operate so far. Now this system is designed to be maintained by or with 8 hours a week to produce about 40 pounds of produce and a week, and about 100 pounds of fish a month. And I've been doing fairly okay, hitting that aspect religiously. So, yeah, Sandra. All right. So far, what we want to do is kind of continue the conversation on commercial viability of aquaponics while I going through my daily maintenance, right? So, aquaponics is commercially viable, but in order for that to happen, certain aspects, you gotta hit certain aspects of it. And commercial viability is, I shouldn't do this because this can keep a lot of noise. The system does stay 800 grams or 2 liters of feed a day. So I can fill this up and come right back to you. All right, so the first task is finished. And one of the key aspects of my aquaponic system that make it commercially viable is the fact that I 100% solar powered, right? So these is the batteries that I got powering my system. You see outside. So there is no energy bill, no monthly energy obligation that I gotta meet. I buy all of my energy. These batteries got 25-year life expectancy, so I buy 25 years of energy one time. All right. So I don't gotta worry about every month paying a bill, and that lowers my responsibility and increases the chance of producing a commercially viable outcome. So another aspect of it is that I use wicking beds rather than other types of media, because it's just work out a lot cheaper to use wicking beds, and is also a lot more user friendly, right? So how it works, the filtration does remove all of the manure from out of the system and is end up in the compost tea brewer, and then we does distribute it to the plants. And I want to see I do a lot of video updates, so if you just look at my YouTube page or like my Facebook page, you can see when these are fully planted, the crops that I grew in the past, and so on and so forth. The fish that I grow is the pacu fish. I grow tilapia. I grow whitefish as well. I use the Jabo DCT pumps because the DC pumps, as in this, work well with solar, and I got a lot of features that like is protect them when they run dry and automatic shut off and all these kind of things. And also they're a lot more energy efficient, right? So if you take a peek inside one of the tanks here, you can see I got some tilapia, but this tank ain't going a lot of fish. In this tank here, You can see I got some pacus, I got some white fish. So, right, my first task is just be feeding. Oh shoot, I took the pacus out of that tank, so they ain't got nothing in there. I just feed the tank for no reason whatsoever. Right, so going on here, you can see all the tanks. This is what my first task does be. Now, to the topic at hand, the commercial viability of aquaponics. Now, to understand the commercial viability of aquaponics, you gotta look at what the competition is. That's open field agriculture. So basically what you gotta do is to get your operating costs lower than that of the open field agriculture. And to do that, as I mentioned just now, once you're solar powered, the operating costs automatically lower. And that's because in aquaponics, the actual work, a lot of the work of the collecting the manure from the animals and processing the manure from the animals is actually done by a water pump. So if you energy requirements or your energy cost is effectively zero from using solar power, then your operating cost is a lot less than open field agriculture. Now, inside this one, this cage that you can see here is what contain the breeders. So I just move the cage once a month and harvest the tank behind. So there's always a constant amount of fish going. All right. Now, so that's the last tank. That's the morning feed. Fishes get feed 3 times a day, so you can see 1, 2 more feedings in there. Now, the topic at hand. We're comparing traditional agriculture to aquaponics. The only real benefit of the aquaponics system is that the waste produced by the protein source, you actually got the ability to collect 100% of the waste, which is the liquid waste from the fish and the solid waste. Whereas if you're keeping chickens, cows, pigs, goats, whatever, you're not going to get 100% of the waste collected, right? And not only in aquaponics is 100% of the waste collected, but is also a process and is done by a water pump rather than being done manually. So the physical involvement of the farmer is actually a lot less in comparison to the traditional farm. It's merely a matter of switching on and off a pump. Whereas in a traditional farm, you may have to manually get a shovel and clean up all the manure, put it somewhere to decompose, and then apply it to the plants, which could take months. Whereas in the aquaponic system, the feed that I just feed is going to get collected within the next 2 hours and processed overnight. So that process is a lot faster and a lot cheaper, and that's one of the factors that's made aquaponics commercially viable. There are a lot more factors, and I would like to continue this conversation. So are you open to get some comments, even if it's criticism or whatever? Let me get some comments so we continue this conversation on the commercial viability of aquaponics, and yeah, so that everybody could get a better understanding of what's happening. So I explained the fish propagation with the breeding cage that it just moved. So it would harvest this tank, then move the cage from the previous tank into the next tank, leaving back young ones. So then this would be the next tank to harvest. This will go on breeders, this will go on the youngest. So then we just move on, harvest, and move the cage each time. So we got a continual production of fish. And on the plant side here, you can see we got seedlings, and then we move to the 4-inch pots. And then from the 4-inch pots, we just go to the big beds. So it's continuous production of plants as well. So you got the continuous production of food from one specific area.